People, good afternoon. I hope you are well. We said that we will be going live at 2 o'clock to address an issue which we have been fighting for over the past 4 years to get that addressed because of non-regulation and exploitive matters that happens within the funeral industry. Now affecting the public directly, we've engaged government through the DTI, the National Consumer Commission, the Financial Services Board, and everyone has just turned a blind eye, including funeral associations that we've engaged with that initially said that we did not consult them when we drafted the Funeral Ombudsman in 2016 that was addressed and published in the Government Gazette, of which each and every funeral participant could have given their comments on the draft. And remember, it's a draft, it's not a law. And unfortunately, they opposed that. And we unfortunately, once again, have to place that in front of associations. But since they haven't listened, we will now address the individuals which has been protected by associations over a period of time. Even though that people publicly say that they support the funeral industry and the public, it's not happening. In the public space, they say they will not exploit the public. There is no public protection in terms of the funeral industry. There is no public protection in terms of government, in terms of the funeral industry. And if there's protection, it takes them months. A deceased can't lie in a morgue for months. And we received a call yesterday of one of our members and affiliates, and we received this on a continuous basis daily, but we never directly made the comments or shared the comments of what is happening to the association's members because they are hiding behind their respective associations. We've seen these exploitive measures. We've spoken to government on numerous occasions which they failed to address us. They've failed to address the public's needs. They've failed to address the public's concerns. They failed to address the funeral industry's concerns because of low prices between one funeral parlor and another funeral parlor. In this particular case, we approached the NFDA president, Mr. Manesh Govender, Mr. Dion Kukamoor, and yet nothing has changed. Mr. Dion Kukamoor stated to us that he does not want to engage this particular funeral parlor, which is in the same organization as he is, and I respect his views because we've had a runaround with this very same company a month or 2 or 3 ago, and then previous to that, she also denied her franchisees to affiliate to FIRA as an independent organization, basically denying their members the freedom of association, freedom of expression, which is a violation of the South African Constitution as well as the National Consumer Protection Act. So I want to play you this message and then I'm going to tell you what happened thereafter, this morning after we received this message. And I'm going to play this for you so that you understand the rivalry between funeral parlors in the funeral industry under separate associations which has got vested interests, but more so affecting a member of the public which is going through trauma, which parents just passed away, which seeked our members' services. And for some or another reason, it ended up with another funeral parlor, which is a rival within the same industry. Remember, we requested a flat rate amongst funeral parlors not to affect the public. But we're going to do this, and we're going to do this continuously now, because it is senseless speaking to a funeral association because they don't care. They are only protecting their own vested interest and not really that of their members, because it has just been proved they've all got vested interest within the funeral industry, and it's basically a cover-up. But listen to this, how a family has been affected.
Hello, Johan. I would just like to bring it to your attention that one of our congregation members passed away this morning. She was collected from the house after resuscitation with an ambulance. When they got to the hospital, she died at the hospital entrance, and therefore the hospital wouldn't admit her. The family phoned Sonja Smith Funeral Group, and they asked for Liesel Myburg to assist them with the death of their mum. That was their preference, and they were told that I am not available. They will send a vehicle to come and collect the body. The family wants me to assist them with this death, as that was their mother's wish, and because she's one of our congregation members. So after the Sonja Smith group took the body, the family phoned my husband, who's the reverend of the Dutch Reformed Church, to which this lady belongs, and they said that that was her mother's wish, but they were told that I'm not available. He then told them that I'm still in the business and that I will be able to assist them, and they then phoned me and said that the records of the phone call can be traced, because they did ask for Liesel Myburg to assist them, but they were misled by the head office of Sonja Smith Group by telling them that I am not available. The deceased is Mrs. Elena Erasmus, HCE Erasmus, and she lives in Tobias Street in Kilner Park, and the daughter is Deirdre, who will be the person that said, or well, the person who phoned and asked for Liesel Myburg. She was very traumatized and in tears. As she said, it was her mother's wish that I will attend to her when she passes on one day, and now her mom is in a place where she didn't want to be. She wanted to be where I could assist them. If you can please help me in this instance, because now Sonja Smith wants to charge me 3,000 rand to collect the body. They collected the body from the heart hospital at about 2 o'clock, which seems that the body's with him less than 2 hours now for 3,000 rand, after they misleaded the family to say that I am not available. Thank you. Bye-bye.
So people, there you have it. Liesel Botma has just sent us a message that Sonja Smith Funeral Group removed the deceased after the family requested Liesel Botma to assist them. It was her last wish, and we must understand that. That was the wish of the deceased, that she wants to deal with this particular individual. So what happened, as you've just heard, the family then went, phoned the company, which is being referred to as Sonja Smith Funeral Group in Pretoria, the well-known Sonja Smith, which is a business lady, got business awards and all those things, which has constantly been on radio, television, and all those type of things. So what happened is, there's a difference between the public space and something that happens behind the scenes. Always remember that, because that's never been disclosed. Sonja Smith company then went and said that this lady, which has over the past few weeks moved away because of certain aspects internally, and I don't want to get involved with that. It's the second person. It's the second person that moved away, that resigned from that franchise and affiliated to our organization to assist them, because that's our intention. But then what happened is, according to this message, Sonja Smith's people misleaded the family by saying that she's not available, although they know that she started her own funeral parlor in Valeria area. Liesel Botma, which is the wife to a reverend, a brilliant person, competent, very well spoken, addressing the people's needs. And unfortunately, Sonja Smith people misleaded the public, removed the deceased, kept the deceased for 2 hours, and then when the family realized that the deceased is not with them, requested the deceased to be removed to Lisa Botma, which is their preferred funeral parlor. But when that happened, the cost implication is 3,000 Rand for 2 hours, people. It's not a bread and breakfast. So what do? How do we address this? We've requested an ombudsman to be established to curb this, because now a family has to pay 3,000 Rand. And unfortunately, they have to pay that amount because there's no legislation, there's no controls. So the NFDA has failed their member, they failed the public, and let me just tell you what then happened thereafter. Sonja Smith sent me a message that she's on leave, so she couldn't answer me. So I'm just asking, why can't she answer me if it implicates her company and her staff disregarding a member of the public, disregarding someone else which has just lost their mother. Okay, so I'm going to give you the person's name, which then was engaging with Lisa Botma. So let's just have a look. It's a guy with the name of Louis, which doesn't understand the funeral industry. Let me just have a look here. Let's have a look. The person's name is Louis, which is the general manager at Sonja Smith. What he did, they said that the amount charged of 2,850 Rand or 3,000 Rand is reasonable for the work that they've done. Now, normally, in normal circumstances, between a franchise and a franchisee, there is small cost involved. Okay? Which will mean that it's the kilometers and the staff that needs to be paid, which now is about 5 times the amount or 10 times the amount. So what does that say to us? It's exploitation of a family. But when we intervened, and when Lisa Botma intervened with Sonja Smith Funeral Group, this particular Louis said to her, we will drop the price to 2,850 and not 3,000 Rand, which is guided by their association. But there's no laws. Remember that. Now what happened? Because there's rivalry between these two groups, these two companies, this Louis then went, contacted the family and said, we will give the funeral free of charge to you. But it seems like they do not understand that this particular family do not want to utilize their services. Why do they have to pay 2,850 Rand if they were allegedly misled by a competitor just to generate the business? Now suddenly, because they know it's going to be made public, they suddenly offer the funeral for free, of which this dedicated family has refused to utilize their services, and still is prepared to pay for the services from Lisa Botma. So that must tell you something, people. If a family could get something for free from Sonja Smith Funeral Group, still says no, we want to utilize our preferred funeral parlor, which is a FIRA member, it must say something to the public out there and to the funeral industry that in this particular case, the family's last wishes is not being taken into consideration. And this is the type of messages that we receive daily. But we've never ever went this far in identifying the actual culprits which is hiding behind an association. And that needs to be addressed. Now, we will be upfront, direct, open, and honest. Because Sonja Smith is advertising on radio. She received business awards. Is this the type of people that they deal with? Is this the way that they treat people behind the scenes? We just ask ourselves, what does their funeral cost? Let's compare the net cost and the selling cost, because we know what is the actual cost of a funeral and a removal and all the facilities involved. Please, people, share this message, because we will now go directly and we will protect the public and our members. Our members, in many instances, they assist each other free of charge. And that's why we want the public to understand that we are serving the public's best interest. And I can tell you that some of our members, which is situated in the East Rand of Joburg, has removed deceased people for our other members in Rustenburg, in the Free State, in Cape Town, KZN, East London, assisting each other free of charge. Because they know sometime, somewhere, somehow, they're going to need someone's assistance. There's a gentleman with the name of Henry Brits, which we've assisted many years ago. And I can tell you, Henry, you, your family, Martin, needs to be saluted, because you are one of the genuine funeral parlors, including our members, that takes the public's interest at heart. And that's why we want the funeral industry to affiliate to an organization without any benefits, without any hidden agenda, without any vested interests, to affiliate to an organization that serves the public's needs. Secondly, we request the public, now with my involvement in the UIM, we are not only serving the few people that listens to our Facebook group, we are serving the interest of 2.8 million people, including those that agreed with us in 2005, which amounts to an alarming number of 52.5 million people. And we're going to carry this message forward to each and every grouping in South Africa, and to each and every business union that's doing business with organizations and companies affiliated to these associations. So we reach out to companies that's sincere in addressing the public's needs and assisting them in a time of need to get involved with us, because now we will start going direct and not discredit associations because we need to work together, but they don't want to listen. It's almost like politics. No one wants to listen. They've all singing their old tune. But now we will direct this to individual companies and expose them if they exploit the public. And we've been pleading about this. We've been asking for this, and it hasn't happened. As a result of government turning a blind eye, as a result of associations not listening, and we put this in front of Manesh Govender, LCB Basilio, which we've requested to engage. They have turned a blind eye. We cannot, as a result of possible rivalry between organizations, associations, and funeral parlors, neglect the public's interest. So we once again reach out to these organizations that's been misleading the public, misleading their members, and misleading government to engage with us, because we will go directly for your members. because they've not been told the truth, that in a regulated environment, they will be assisted. One, they will be transformed, they will be developed, and then finance would be made available. In terms of the Consumer Protection Act, the Ombudsman would, one, protect the public, two, level the playing fields between your small funeral parlors, average funeral parlors, and emerging funeral parlors against an industry which has been manipulating this industry for many, many years. And then I'm not only talking post-94, but also pre-94. And that's why we said the laws needs to be changed. But, people, we also spoke to the Competitions Commission and the Consumer Ombudsman. They have done nothing. Let's ask ourselves why. Because the funeral industry is a hub for bribery and corruption. That's why government doesn't want to regulate it. Why? Because they spend alarming amounts and millions and billions onto the funeral industry, which is your money and my money. And we need to address that. Why hasn't that been addressed? Because it becomes a lavish party and a political platform for all political parties. This is the reason why we say we need change. Why we want you as people, as the public, as the citizens of this country to support us. We've been fighting this battle for 20 years without funding, without support, other than the support of individuals which has had problems, individuals which has affiliated to us, because they're not prepared to stand up and say, enough is enough. We need you just as much as you need us. Thank you very much and enjoy your day.